An old woman punk rock band touring the country and their van are abducted by a tribe of barbaric people who reside in the middle of a recycling center. Each of the women get an arm removed to accommodate a weaponized limb, which dare to use in a battle for survival in an arena to satiate the bloodthirsty gods of the tribe worships. Loud music blasts in a biker bar as the four-woman punk rock band Miss 45 light up the stage with an electrifying performance. The people dance in a drunken daze as Amy sings and dances, luring the audience into joining her. The guitarist and Amir's sister, Emma, shreds her guitar as Cassie, the drummer and Jill groove to the music. Among the crowd, a mysterious man watches them from the back of the bar with great interest, slowly sipping his beer. In the other corner, three bikers playing pool, Earl, Dudley, and Lou, sinisterly look over at the women. Meanwhile, Amy noticed a handsome man eyeing her sister Emma, who also reciprocates the attention. Seeing this, Amy dents essentially standing in front of Emma and successfully pulling away the man's attention. To her sister's annoyance then, Earl jumps up on the platform with the ladies. His actions make the women uncomfortable, but they continue performing. When the man grabs Amy's she retaliates by elbowing his face with a resounding crack. Amy follows it with a quick whip of her microphone, hitting Earl's face while she continues singing. Seeing their friend getting beaten up by a woman, Lou and Dudley race over to the stage to back him up. Earl tries to get up, but falls again when Emma trips him. Enraged Earl grabs Amy's leg, pulling her off the platform, causing her to scream angrily. On the other end of the stage, Emma, who blocks it with her guitar. Cassie sees Dudley on her girlfriend, Jill, protecting her lover. She body slams him and beats him up. Meanwhile, Lou grabs Emma, thrilled her to the ground, then strangled. "Sir, seen your sister in danger." Amy kicks her assailants away. The singer takes the mic's cord and uses it to choke the man. Lou escapes Amy's clutches and punches her face, making her spit out blood. Emma jumps in and gives Lou a hard punch, throwing him off. Impressed by her fighting moves, the mysterious man becomes enamored with Emma. Chaos reigns over the whole bar when men and establishment join the fight. The bar owner fires a warning gunshot, causing everyone to stop, completely oblivious and still in a rage. Cassie punches a biker while screaming about never laying a hand on a pregnant woman. Her statement surprises her, bends me, and Amy embraces Jill happily while Emma grimaces. After the fiasco, the women cheerfully sell their merchandise. Runs the back of their van, while discussing Jill's pregnancy. However, Emma expressed his concern about their band's future, but Jill assures her they'll be fine. Later, a car arrives, and the mysterious sounds asking if there's still merchandise to buy. He admires their potential and calls Emma an Axemaster, who turns away to grab him a t-shirt, as the couple leaves. And Amy dashes away to the handsome man she was eyeing at the concert. Emma is left alone with her admirer. The man comments about how the lead singer in any band always gets the men, trying to create a rift between the two sisters. He thinks Emma should be the one getting the attention, especially with how she wields her hand like an axe. Then he asks, "Where the planicle next?" Emma casually replies with the place's name, and the men widen with excitement. His actions go unnoticed by the guitarist, who tells him that the band has to get their name out since the world. The man smells with annoying look, telling her that in the future, her name will be chanted by the crown. Then he walks away. Later, the band hits the road with Emma behind the wheel. Sitting beside her is the smiling Amy, while the couple is in the back seat. Amy notices the grim look on her older sister's face and asks if she's okay. However, this leads to an argument between the siblings. Angered Emma points out that Amy's only concern is hooking up with guys and not caring about their careers. The argument continues until Jill and Cassie have had enough, screaming at the siblings to stop. Suddenly, the mysterious man drives up beside them, laughing hysterically. He bumps into their van on purpose, almost causing them to crash. Fortunately, Emma manages to evade an oncoming truck. However, their vent's tire pops, so the women get out to check. Cassie and Emma venture down the road to see what had constant. And they bring back a spiked contraption meant to pop tires when they see a car driving towards them. The women panic, thinking that the crazed man has returned. But when the flashes of red and blue lights emit from the vehicle, they realized it's the police. Later, Daniel of the tow truck driver mounts the women's van onto his trunk. The sheriff reassures the women that they will catch the perpetrator as soon as possible. The others get in the sheriff's car, while Emma rights Daniel's trunk. Tired, the women sit quietly as they're taken to a recycling center, passing it by mountains of abandoned cars and piles of scrap metal. The sheriff leaves them with Daniel, who'll be fixing their vehicle. However, Jill and Amy are uncomfortable with the situation. But the sheriff promises them that Daniel is trustworthy afterward. The older man leads the women to a waiting room. There Emma receives a phone call from her boyfriend, Tim. She chooses to take the call outside, not noticing the clicking sounds the door makes when she closes it. She wonders stuff as she tries to get better reception and tells them throughout a recycling sensor. She then sponsors suspicious looking car with a gas tank connected to a tube inside the vehicle back in the waiting area. The room starts to fill with thick white smoke, realizing it's car Exxon's. They hurriedly open the door, only to find it locked. Desperate, Cassie forcefully kicks the door's handle to no avail. Jill faints from the noxious gas, while Amy coughs out for her sister. Meanwhile, Emma reaches the suspicious-looking car once suddenly a woman trapped inside the vehicle begs her for help. She immediately tries to open the car, but Daniel appears asking her what she's doing. The older man tries to corner her, but Emma splashes this ice with motor oil before hacking him with large knife. Despite the panic and fear, Emma quickly runs back to her van, meets the mysterious man, captures her and covers her nose and smells with cloth doused with a substance that knocks around. This oriented Amy slowly opens her eyes to see her sister and friends lying on beds surround her. She witnesses the stranger cut off Cassie's hand. Horrified, Amy tries to get up. However, a woman catches her and puts her back to sleep. Sometime later, the singer wakes up in complete panic as she feels the cold sensation of the chain collar around her neck. Frightens, Amy whimpers when she sees that her right hand has been cut, exposing the bones in her arm. She pulls at her chain, only to find a scary-looking man with one white eye holding the other end. He smirks, pulls her chain and forces her to enter a dark arena. For he removes her collar and puts a modified knife over her right limb. Amy sees her sister and friends appear from the other games. They run toward each other and noticed an absolute horror that all of the right arms have been modified to fit weapons. Suddenly, a bright light chants upon them and a loud cheer erupts from the crowd surrounding them. On a higher platform, a man called the Emperor sits on a throne, welcoming them to the gridiron arena. He speaks about spilling blood into the dirt to give life and the peace to gods. As the speech ends, the gate opens, and the group of people enters the arena wielding weapons. Amy interrupts the ceremony, telling them that they are unwilling to fight to the crowd's displeasure. Cassie interjects that they should at least exclude Jean, who is pregnant. However, the Emperor brings forth a jar containing Jill's unborn child. Like that he had the child removed. Jill cries in grief, while Cassie seethes with rage, rushing toward the Emperor. But Amy stops her as the gun fires. The battle commences and the women tried to survive the stranger's attacks. Amy draws first blood, which makes the crowd roar in excitement and brings the smile to the Emperor's face. As the fight continues, Jill gets stabbed multiple times in her chest. Emma comes to her rescue. However, the Vastist has sustained too many injuries. Cassie smashes her opponent's head and bolts over to her dying lover, begging Jill to hold on, taking her last breath. Jill's to come to her death. And Cassie screams in anguish as the battle ends. The Emperor has dismantled the women with tranquilizer darts, incapacitating them later. Emma has a dream where she sees Amy making love to Tim. She wakes up in a cozy room where a woman with a metal leg, Leah, carries food tray. Leah encourages her to eat her food. Suddenly, the creased man who turns out to be the Emperor's son, Sam, comes in and orders Leah to leave. Angered by her current situation, Emma thrilled her porridge at him. Elsewhere, Amy wakes up to Cassie's crying. The singer tries to comfort her friend, but Cassie doesn't want to hear it, instead choosing to grieve in pain for losing her lover. Suddenly, the scary-looking man, Driller, appears and takes Amy and Cassie with them. Meanwhile, Sam tells the guitarist that, because of him, Emma is receiving special treatments. So she should be grateful then. They hear her knock on the door. Annoyed, Sam opens the door to see Driller with the other women. He's dared to take Emma to the arena for training. Amy quietly observes the room, her eyes gleaming with jealousy. Later, Driller takes the women to the arena to train them with fighting techniques and body strengthening. After training, some presents Mo with her guitar. Emma smiles, but is reminded of the cold truth when she raises her missing right hand. Santos Emma not to worry, because he'll be there to stumble the strings. And they complete the instrument together. As the guitarist's sound carries over to Amy's room, glens over at the music's direction with an envious look. At the bar, Temp searches for the women, asking the bar owner where the nearest recycling center is. The older man gives him directions, but warns him not to go there. Against the man's advice, Tim drives toward the recycling center. As the days go by, the women are trained every day under harsh conditions, with Emma clearly provided with better amenities, a room of her own, a servant and her guitar. During Sam's visit, he brings her an upgraded X weapons that Emma excitedly puts on sound voices as planned to use Surface Father and offers Emma to be his queen. He then shows her how the new weapon can shoot out nails. The women are ushered to the arena for another tournament the next day. Amy notices Emma's new weapon and tries to warn her of Sam's intention. However, Emma tells her sister that she can defend herself just fine. As the door opens, 3 men from the bar ride in on their motorcycles. They bring out their weapons and the fight begins. During the fight, Amy suffers a cut on her abdomen and is then choked by Earl with a metal chain, while Cassie keeps on getting hit by Dudley's web. In contrast, Emma blocks almost every attack from Lou and shoots them with her new weapon. Then she flips them over before she throws his own axe into his back. Emma rescued Amy and is about to finish Ro off? But Amy stops her, declaring that he's hers to deal with. Amy pushes his face to the spinning wheel of his fallen bike, brutally ending his life. Cassie manages to get out of Dudley's hold. And hits him with her sledgehammer. The crowd cheers their victory as the show ends with great splendor. Outside the recycling center gate, Tim gets out of the car just as Sam arrives as they talk. Sam realizes that Tim is Emma's boyfriend, and the jealous look flashes on his face. He immediately covers the dog by allowing him to enter the facility and offers to help him search for his missing girlfriend. Meanwhile, Amy loits at the arena after failing to seduce Driller. She's caught off guard by Sam will appear suddenly before her. He saunters towards her carrying a containing a chainsaw, which he immediately tries to grab. However, Sam closes it and tells her that, in order to keep it, she must fight him first. Eager Amy agrees to his proposal and happily puts the chainsaw on her right arm. He tells her he'll be right back, so she practices with her new weapon. After a few minutes, a man with the same black shirt Sam was wearing, and the mask over his face attacks Amy. She easily defeats him with her chainsaw and happily snatches the set of keys on the fallen man's waist. Suddenly, Emma comes running toward them, crying and falling to her knees. She asks, revealing Temp's lifeless face, despite Amy apologetically explaining that she didn't know it was Tim. Emma bitterly proclaims that her sister is now her enemy. A few days later, the Emperor hosts a dinner celebration showing the women the capabilities of their next opponents, who showcase their skills, written with guilt. Amy steals glances at Emma, who is ignoring her. In the middle of their dinner, Cassie suddenly attacks the Emperor, stabbing his cheek with a fork. Her actions anger the Emperor, who orders this meant to subdue Cassie and send the sisters away. Worried about Cassie, Amy escapes using the keys that she had stolen. Later, she finds Cassie, but is unable to do anything but watch as the men burn her friend alive. With the third warrior's death, the Emperor, Doctor and Sam are in great dilemma as they can't move forward, since tradition demands that 3 warriors are needed for the ceremony. Driller offers himself to return to the arena, replacing Cassie. The Emperor is delighted with this decision, much to Sam's dismay. As the final battle is about to start, the women gear up and enter the arena with Driller. The Emperor makes a speech and he apologizes to Emma and tells her that she loves her. Their opponents entered the arena, and the Emperor screams for them to commence the battle. Amy goes against the men with a flamethrower and backs off from the flames, slowly being cornered. She attacks and successfully cuts off the tip of the weapon, eventually throwing the man off and defeating him. Emma is equally matched with their opponent, who uses a dart gun. However, she is much better at wielding her weapon as she uses the nail guns and demands line. In contrast, Jeweler is defeated and accidentally falls back on a protruding metal pipe. Distressed Amy ceases defeat and attacks his fall. As the 2 sisters win, the masters rejoice. However, the Emperor has other plans, which is forcing the siblings to slaughter each other. Amy shouts in outreach at the Emperor's ridiculous order, yet Emma attacks her sister, which confuses Amy, who refuses to find even though her older sister encourages her to do so. Whimpering, Emma commands Amy to kneel as she runs towards her siblings, screaming. To the crowd's surprise, Emma jumps on Amy's shoulder and launches herself into the air. She reaches the Emperor's leg, pulling him down into the arena. Amy immediately ends the Emperor's life by slicing his head off. Delirious, she shows his head to the crown, but the joy ceases instantly when the sheriff shoots at her hand. Hamlet chops off the shooter's hand and kills the other guards in a fury. Sam tries to calm Emma down, who reaches her axe as he screams in fear. Many days later, a new ruler has risen, and Emma now sits on the Emperor's throne. She announces the battle between Sam and the sheriff, as loud cheers resound in the arena. Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel out. Gratitude for watching.